Welcome everybody to our Driven 4 webinar. Today we're going to be discussing our Driven 4 Connect system. I'd like to take the opportunity to thank you all for joining us today and spending this time with us. And we're going to get started and we'll go from there. So the agenda for today is we'll talk briefly about the presenters for the actual webinar. We'll give you a brief introduction on Driven 4, and then we'll talk about the use cases that the Driven 4 Connect system supports. And then we'll get into some more details around the module, the cloud portal, and we've got a video demonstration for you to walk through some of the components and how the system actually operates. So with that being said, we'll start with the presenters. Hi, I'm Fred Bellio, managing partner and co-founder of Driven 4. I've got 20 plus years of experience both in industrial, consumer products, aerospace, both from a perspective of product development as well as manufacturing automation, as well as the IT organization. So with that, I'll pass it over to Carl.
Hi everybody, I'm Carl Wentland. I'm also a partner at Driven 4. I have 20 plus years of experience in systems development, ranging from simple systems to connected products for business to business or business to consumer applications. Started my career off in the Air Force and really got involved in doing programming systems work, and I loved it ever since. And I'll pass this over to Ryan.
Thanks, Carl. I'm Ryan Slaw, the lead solutions architect for Driven 4. I have 24 years in design and deployment of systems, embedded to runs the range. I was previously at a national laboratory doing systems there all over the globe. I'm the lead designer of the Driven 4 Connect system, both the embedded system and the portal.
Well, thanks, Ryan and Carl. With that, I'm going to just spend a couple of minutes just introducing Driven 4 if you don't know who we are. So Driven 4 is made up of gentlemen like Carl and Ryan. We've come from multiple industries, multiple aspects of the business when it comes to product development, innovation, as well as manufacturing, automation of factories, as well as the connectivity side of both product and service. We have come from an experience which is very similar to yours. Almost all of our organization comes from product companies, OEMs. So we come from your side and we understand what it takes from a company's perspective to go from a thought process of transforming digitally to actually making it happen. With that being said, we do drive both from a business perspective and a competitive advantage, our understanding of both business and how we've actually transferred our knowledge from our business experience into executing that into I'll call it a piece by piece implementation roadmap perspective on getting those from paper, from a understanding to actually embedding that within your organization. Our approach is really a four-pronged approach. We really typically start with business strategy, understanding the value you're trying to drive, making sure that the strategic initiatives align with the business initiatives. From there, we drive the next aspect, which is really trying to understand how's the process within your organization going to be able to maintain as well as augment into what we believe is the approach that needs to happen. We then turn that into a technology implementation aspect. And from there, some of our customers really don't like to keep and maintain the systems themselves. So we've actually do offer a managed service component to our business, which is we can operate, maintain, and support your organization from an implementation standpoint. With that, with our experience and our expertise, we've created a set of proven frameworks that come from our best practices and industrial experience to be able to make sure that we provide the best solution set for you and your company. And last topic is really, we believe as an organization that product development goes from a product development to a connected product development approach. From that perspective, we need to take all the angles in place from innovation, product development, manufacturing, utilizing connectivity and automation within your four walls in your factories, and then taking that and expanding that into your connected product offering and augmenting your service so that you can provide some service that is also connected. And we also understand the importance of cybersecurity in this realm. So making sure that you have a reliable, secure process as well as platform for you and your company to support your customer base. With that, I will pass it over to Carl as he's going to discuss our connected system use cases. Carl?
All right. Thanks, Fred. Yeah, so typical use cases that most companies think about are sort of listed here on the slide, and I'll just touch on them briefly just to get us all thinking about it. So typical right off the bat is preventive maintenance, right? So if you can discover when something might fail, whether it's on the end of line test or out in the field before it happens, that is a really, really cool thing that adds a lot of value. So it's a very popular reason to get into the connected space. Remote monitoring is another one. Take an example of, let's say, a laundromat. You have like 30 different machines in that laundromat. And because you're doing some remote monitoring, you can tell which machine gets all the traffic. So just like rotating your tires, you may want to rotate your machines to even out the wear of these washers and dryers throughout their life cycle. Remote control, this is a pretty common use case as well. It's in lots of different products out there now, whether it's smart switches or some of the popular toys that are out there that kids like to play with, or even the giant mines where they do autonomous vehicles, right? It gives you endless opportunities to operate in a safe environment, or take a product that you wouldn't otherwise be able to do something cool with, and allow folks to do something such as like control closing their garage door or turning their car on remotely from their smartphone when they're just landing at the plane. And trying to warm it up before they get there. So lots of neat things you can do with remote control. Location-based services. This one's pretty interesting as well in the areas of geofencing. I'm sure many of us have walked into a store and gotten a push notification immediately from that app, whether it's one of the popular box stores or something else, where it lets you know that, hey, there's some specials or sales that you can save some money on. Well, it's because you've opted into that geofencing location-based service. It helps them market to you, but it can also be used in a different sort of way where you can keep track of, let's say if you're managing a fleet of trucks, you can keep track of where your trucks are, and work through a very popular use case would be emergency and disaster management for that type of use case there. Auto replenishment. This one is pretty popular now as well. So if you have any products that use consumables, if we know, or if you can find out when a consumer is running low of that product, you can auto replenish it for them. And it's a very popular thing because it keeps me, the consumer, from having to run to the store to buy your product. You can just send it to me and I'll say, hey, thanks, and I'll keep using it. And that's a good stream of revenue. Beyond that, there's always new business revenues and streams that come up every day. Lots of third-party integrations where you can take your connected product and add different features to it, such as mobile pay. Partner API integration, where you can extend your product to other cloud offerings and share features and other service opportunities. Many popular ones out there today. I'll pick on some of the like local delivery apps or the rideshare apps. They integrate with popular mobile payment systems, different scheduling services, and it just opens the door to new possibilities for your business. So with that, I'll turn it back to Ryan for the demonstration.
Thanks, Carl.
Yeah, thank you very much, Carl. So to get into the Driven 4 Connect module itself, there are two parts to the Driven 4 system. I think you go back one. I think you went forward one there, Fred.
So,
There we go. We'll talk about the module first and then a little bit about our portal and its offerings. So all the use cases that Carl was talking about, this module makes possible for your systems that may not have the connectivity already on there, or we can actually integrate it with a new design of yours. So it gives you those use cases such as the system monitoring, CNC, alert notifications, all those that Carl went through. In addition, this could be called an IoT PLC. You can do command and control local on the device with connections to servers and IoT products that would take in the data and provide the analytics. Or it can be a DAC, digital to analog converter, taking in data from around your plant or even a remote location, so you can analyze that data in machine time or even later as you need to. So it's offered, as I said, as part of an embedded device and as an integrated solution. We're also offering a dev kit for purchase. There are two purchase options. One is just the blank board. Let's say you're an experimenter. You want to just grab the board, let me get the board and get it in my hands. We can have that option, or a dev kit for purchase. The dev kit does come with a portal access for time, and then that will also include libraries to use with some of the code that we've already developed. For instance, the cellular SIM card code. We use Hologram. We're set up with Hologram. We're experimenting with some others right now to add to that list to where you can get those SIM cards through your own access and get it powered up and on the net quickly using the modem. We designed this module for power efficiency. The original design was actually, one of the requirements was to use off a solar panel, and we all know how solar panel design can be challenging for powering devices. So it's built to go to a fairly low voltage operating range, but also a low power consumption to give you the maximum amount of power out of a solar panel if you just use a standard solar panel and not a battery backup panel, as they have. But it has a wide operating input range, 4.5 to 21 volts. So even in some of the environments you'll see in your industrial plants, you'll have the voltage available without too much modification to your systems to power the device. On board, there is a LiPo battery connection, so you can put it to a 3.7 volt. The power charging or the battery charging circuit is also included there. So if you power it with 4.5 to 21, it'll keep your battery charged and use that appropriately for cycling. It is optimized for the lower power consumption and it's designed for connectivity. AWS, Azure, GCP, on-prem, whatever server you want to point it to, you can customize. The network connections available on the box: Wi-Fi, cellular, LTE with an onboard antenna. There is an external available that we can populate the circuitry to bring it to an external antenna. And for Bluetooth, this can be used for provisioning and control if you have Bluetooth designs that you need to integrate, especially with your mobile devices. Some of the system's communications that are possible: there is GPS. It's a daughter card configuration where the modem talks directly to a GPS for localization possibilities. It has standard GPIO. It has analog to digital conversion. Three communication protocols here that I list: serial ports, your 232, 485, and custom if you have a custom serial that you need to program into it, SPI, and of course I2C. The modem itself actually has some additional GPIO. They're lower voltage, of course, at 1.8 volts, but they offer a cellular command and control that actually skips that level of the processor if you need a command and control level that's cellular modem focused. The firmware is C-based. You can use a lot of the libraries that we have created with the dev kit, but there's also a lot of open source libraries for the ESP32 to get you started quickly. The cloud portal. This is the server side of it. Many people will use different IoT providers such as ThingWorx, and we'll actually talk about that here during the demo because we have a ThingWorx portal page opened up for that. But we have our own portal that comes along with this device. If you just purchase the boards and don't need the portal, that's certainly a way to go. Or you can get the dev kit and get a subscription to the portal, a free subscription, and then the cost, of course, would increase as you add more devices. But we really want to let you play out with this portal first to see kind of what it can do. The main aspect is you can monitor these devices to see if they're active, not active. You can do over-the-air firmware updates. That's through the modem or through Wi-Fi. So if you have to deploy just one firmware update to one device, that's simple to do, or you can do all of them at once. In addition, it has data management and analysis. If you don't use ThingWorx, if you don't use another provider, you can actually point your data streams into this service and analyze it and bring up mathematical computations, graphing, whatever you need to do on the same server that you manage the devices with. In that, you can define your data schema, you can define your analysis, and you can monitor your storage. Other features of the portal, we have role-based user management and customer account settings and billings modules to assist in streamlining your costs, really. And so knowing upfront what you're looking at with costs as the month goes by, so nothing's a surprise. So here we have the demo. So what you're seeing here, before you start it, Fred, what you're seeing here is a ThingWorx screen, a ThingWorx mashup, they call it, that we've developed just to connect to this system. And what's going to happen here at about the 10-second mark is it's going to pop up with a pop-up window. Go ahead and start it. To the lower left, where the pop-up will go, you see humidity and temperature. When you see the development or the demo kit pop up, you'll be able to tell that we have those sensors, and I'll walk through there. We'll cover up the data here because they don't change too much, really, because my lab is nice and warm and not too humid. So what we have here is the module you see there in the center of the pop-up screen, the blue module with the wiring coming out of it. That is the Driven 4 Connect module itself. Here it's set. To the left of it, you'll see a time of flight distance sensor, which we'll talk about here in a second, and a humidity sensor, and temperature and humidity to the right. Those are both I2C controlled. Also on the board, you'll have the analog input and some digital inputs. The ThingWorx backend was developed just for this product. I want to say that nothing is local to this demo, meaning the module itself isn't doing the decision making on the board. What is happening here is everything is sent up to the server and then sent back down to the module. And we wanted to do that to show really the connectivity. This is using Wi-Fi currently. It's using MQTT, which can be done either through Wi-Fi or the cellular modem. What we're doing here is we're just changing some RGB LEDs, changing the value in both red, or the red, green, and blue up to 255. So she turned individually, my intern turned individually on the different colors, and now she's doing a mixture of colors. And again, all this is showing is that interconnectivity of control that you can have from the cloud down to the box, depending on how you mix the LEDs. The LED lighting here, the different variables from 0 to 255 determines what color you have. If all of them are 255, which you'll do here in just a second, you'll have all of them bright white. All of them are 0, of course, all is off. The main aspect here is to show just that control with, especially with MQTT. Now, if we wanted to do this with the JSON structure sending back and forth, we could do that as well. MQTT is really kind of a nice focus for this type of environment. Here in a moment, the camera is going to pivot, but before there, you can really hook more to this. There's actually 15 more I/O available on this module in order to connect to different 4 to 20 milliamp inputs, for instance, voltage inputs, relay control outputs. There's a lot of variability and opportunity. She's going to flip a switch here that goes up to the server, comes back to the box and says, yep, it's on or off. That can be used just digital I/O. She's going to rotate the potentiometer. You'll see the potentiometer counts go up to the right, and now they'll go down again. And of course, the meter on the box responds. Then she's going to show us the distance. So we're at 5 centimeters, 8 centimeters, 14 centimeters as she moves her hand further away or closer. The centimeter read actually goes from 3 centimeters to 63 as its max. Obviously, it's not seeing anything in front of it. So this is just a quick overview and demo of what this device can do. Here again, we're taking analog inputs, analog outputs, digital inputs, digital outputs, and I2C. There's about 15 more ports available. We could do RS-232, 485, 4 to 20 milliamp sensors, runs the gamut of different sensors that you can put on this device, and all in a low power consumption package. It's got an onboard SD card that you can log data to if you need to. and of course the SIM card for use with the cellular when you have that.
Thank you, Ryan. And then what we're highlighted on this page is we do have a site available for you and your colleagues to go to shop. And we have the different options that Ryan had talked about earlier. What I want to do now is open it up for questions. And there's a chat mechanism within WebEx to use. I'll give you a few minutes to see if we get any questions before we close it up for this introductory webinar around our Driven for Connect system. Just give it a few minutes. Oh, I do have a question from Lisa. I think this is for you, Carl, and for Ryan. Is the actual Driven for module supported globally?
From the perspective of, I'm assuming you're talking from the perspective of a cellular module, yes. The cellular will work globally on the bands that are needed around the world. And in fact, Hologram IO is a SIM provider that's mostly based in the US, but they're global as well. And we're experimenting with another one that is actually out of a European entity that will also provide that global connection.
Okay, and she's got a follow-up question to your answer. Is the packaging of the cell data transmission within our Driven for Connect, or does each company have to go get their own?
You can do it both ways. You could deliver that data package to our cloud if you want, or to a ThingWorx instance if you have that, or we can even FTP it to a server local on your box if you want it that way. It can actually be customized for whatever your needs are.
Okay, thank you. And we have one from Tony. Tony's asking, if I do decide to buy a board, what are the options when it comes to Driven for supporting the implementation?
So I can talk about that, or Carl Fred could actually. So we're offering different package size depending. You can buy just the board and, you know, be that warrior out there doing everything on your own. You can do the dev kit. We got the libraries and the inclusion there, but we also do integration packages. Say you want, I can't remember the breakups, Carl, you might be able to remind me, 8-hour breakup, 4-hour breakup, 12-hour of different time slots that you need for integration that we can provide that support. Carl, do you want to add any detail to that?
Yeah, no, that's absolutely correct. So if you purchase the board off the site, we do offer some packages of hours that you can use along with that, and that gives you direct access to our development team to support you along your way. But if you want above and beyond that, then we can definitely talk to you guys about some kind of small SOW to help you get through the implementation that you want to do.
Okay, and that's available at the HTTPS site here we're looking at?
That's correct.
Okay. All right. Does anybody else have any other questions? I'll just give it a few seconds here. I'd like to thank Lisa and Tona for the questions. And if you have any further questions to our responses, you can reach out to myself, Ryan, or Carl at any time. Looks like we are done from a question perspective. So I'd just like to conclude by saying thanks to everybody for joining us today. We will post these both within LinkedIn as well as other media so that you'll be available for your use and review anytime that you see fit. Again, thanks everybody and have a good rest of your day.
Thanks, everybody.